thing.
Yes.
I mean, now you're MSNBC, even though it's sort of like Jack Del Rio. He's totally wrong, but I defend his right to be wrong. Okay. Do you think CNN will actually stick with this new plan?
No. I mean, they actually. Listen, my issue isn't actually with opinion journalism. If you're upfront about what your lens is, no problem with that whatsoever. I do have a problem when it blinds you to facts and honesty. And I think both CNN and MSNBC, their maximalist ideas in terms of Russiagate didn't end up working. So that's the issue I have there. Will it work? No. Because ultimately, what's going to happen? Trump's going to come back. Guess what's going to rate? The people who go, the furthest in on Trump, that's what's going to get the best ratings. This is a business. It's a business model.
Bill Maher is once again spreading woke propaganda on his show, Real Time with Bill Maher, and getting destroyed for it, this time not just by Krystal Ball, who was one of the guests on his show, but by the entire panel on Real Time with Bill Maher. They all pile onto him, and they all tell him he is completely wrong about this woke propaganda that he is spreading. Let's get into this clip here, where Bill Maher gets destroyed by his entire panel on Real Time with Bill Maher.
Who was gender fluid? There's rumors.
He shared a bed with a man for several years on the American frontier, which was not that unusual in the 19th century. Although if you read the letters that he exchanged with this guy, they're pretty hot and heavy. So
right. But he also went to the Tonys every year. Just saying. Wasn't that all right. Krystal, CNN's new boss wants the network to steer away from sensational, hyper-partisan coverage. Yes, I saw that. CNN, you can't refer to the election as the big lie or Trump's big lie as the big lie. Which, again, I'm totally on the page of it was the big lie, but I think that's the right thing.
Yes.
I mean, now you're MSNBC, even though it's sort of like Jack Del Rio. He's totally wrong, but I defend his right to be wrong. Okay. Do you think CNN will actually stick with this new plan?
No. I mean, they actually. My issue isn't actually with opinion journalism. If you're upfront about what your lens is, no problem with that whatsoever. I do have a problem when it blinds you to facts and honesty. And I think both CNN and MSNBC, their maximalist ideas in terms of Russiagate didn't end up working. So that's the issue I have there. Will it work? No. Because ultimately, what's going to happen? Trump's going to come back. Guess what's going to rate? The people who go, the furthest in on Trump, that's what's going to get the best ratings. This is a business. It's a business model. I think it's
Yep, 100%. And I always talk about it, not just with MSNBC or CNN or any of these, actual legacy media, mainstream media outlets, but also with YouTubers who are anti-Trump or just pro-woke YouTubers. Audience capture is a huge thing. And, audience capture being the feedback loop that you get for going more and more extreme in the direction that your audience wants you to go in, not only with views and people leaving positive comments and things like that, but also with the money that comes into your bank account. And if you're making content, doing, MSNBC, CNN hosting, you're doing it for a business. You're doing it for money only. So whenever there's a positive feedback loop of you trashing on Donald Trump, and the more and more extreme the lies about Donald Trump gets, the more money comes into your bank account, the more positive feedback you get from your employers and the people who watch your stuff, of course, you're going to continue down that path. And now it seems like they're trying to have more anti-woke people on their shows, especially, CNN, MSNBC. We're seeing The View with Whoopi Goldberg and all those woke idiots over there saying that they want to hire a pro-Trump panelist to balance out the lunacy that goes on over there. Things are changing. I just don't know how long it's going to last. Krystal Ball here telling Bill Maher that whenever Donald Trump takes office again, what is going to get the most views, get the highest ratings, is going to be making up lies about Donald Trump, just like the last time. So they're probably just going to go right back to that direction because that's the audience that they have cultivated over the years.
It's an abhorrent one that leads to a disaster for America. I think it's a cancer on society, all of the cable networks. But ultimately, those are the incentives they respond to. So, no, I don't think it's
So what do you
really
mean by maximalist ideas about Russia?
Like the P-tape stuff, MSNBC.
Steele dossier.
MSNBC floating that he's been a Russian asset since 1985, all that sort of stuff.
The Senate Intelligence Committee, which is controlled by Republicans, said that Trump's involvement with Russia was a grave national security threat.
Okay, but that's not the same as saying Putin has a P-tape and servers are...
It's also, this isn't a Republican versus Democrat issue. It's, if you still think, like Bill Maher is saying, this is a Republican versus Democrat issue, it's just not. It's establishment versus anti-establishment issue. So establishment Republicans and establishment Democrats are very much so on the same team. So of course, if they're trying to go after someone who is, you know, anti-establishment, going after the establishment, such as Donald Trump, especially back in 2016, the pro-establishment Democrats and Republicans are going to align on those issues, trying to take out someone who is anti-establishment.
Bouncing back and forth.
P-tape was always lurid, and who knows? I mean,
right. If you don't like that one, then let's talk about the lab leak and the idea of where the coronavirus came from, and the fact that these outlets said that not only could it no way could it come out of the lab, but that's racist to say. So
I've been all over
that's what I'm saying is I have an issue when your ideology blinds you to the facts. That's
I have that issue every week on this show.
Yes. Yes, I don't have an issue with opinion journalism, is what I'm saying.
But the idea that Russia and Trump were inappropriately intertwined. I mean, his campaign manager, Manafort, was sharing polling information with this guy Kalimnik, who was...
The Mueller report found that there was no collusion. And we were promised this. We were promised this for 3 years.
If you enjoy content like this, to make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
They overpromised.
And it was really in cable news.
But there wasn't
cable
nothing.
News every day.
There wasn't nothing.
It was something else.
There was something.
It wasn't nothing.
But you know what? The truth was bad enough with Trump and Russia.
Correct.
Why did they have to embellish it?
You're right.
Why did they have to embellish it?
What he did in public
was bad enough.
Right.
We disqualified him for the presidency.
Right.
When he said that maybe maybe Russia can keep Crimea. That to me was disqualifying.
How about siding with Putin?
That too.
At Helsinki.
Right.
Like, my 17 intelligence agencies tell me one thing. I got to go with you. Vlad.
It was a disgrace, but they couldn't.
But just side with America. Is that a big ask?
The problem with so many people in the media, they couldn't take that alone. It had to be this Baroque conspiracy going back to 1987.
It's not even that simple either. Like, that's a ridiculous statement saying just side with America. Well, dude, Putin wasn't threatening to invade or take land from America. So if you're siding with America truly, you would just not involve yourself in this stuff at all. You know, that's what I wish would happen. Just stop involving yourself in the Ukraine war. Stop involving yourself in the Middle East until there is an issue that actually affects America. Like Bill Maher is saying, just side with America. Well, that would be keeping us out of everything. Stop wasting tax dollars on, you know, number one, like, whatever. We don't have to get into the tax issue, but taxation is 100% theft, especially when we have no choice as to how the money is spent. It's being spent into these wars that we never agreed to send this money over there. The money is taken out of our pockets without our choice. You know, we don't have a choice. And then we also don't have a choice on what it gets spent on. Not only is it getting spent on nonsense overseas, I mean, dude, tax dollars that we are paying are responsible for the deaths of a ton of people. A ton. There's that famous meme of like the missile going into Israel, and it said, you know, there's a label on it that says American tax dollars. And then there's a missile shooting out of Israel, and it says somehow also American tax dollars. It's true. It's facts. It's all corrupt, man. And if you really want to be on America's side, you wouldn't say things as stupid as Donald Trump sided with Putin, therefore he's not pro-America. That's really stupid. It's a much more nuanced situation than Bill Maher is making it out to be.
He was recruited by the KGB.
Right.
I mean, it was such a scandal, actually, when you look back on it, how we were deluded by this.
What we were sold and what the reality was were not the same.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can say that.
But since he doesn't care about, he's a clinical narcissist.
But our standards should not fall because of him.
But the idea that he would do that is completely believable, and he would have done it.
Well, that's why people bought it. But if you're in the news business, I mean, that's why I think cable news is such a cancer, is because ultimately it is just about the ratings. They don't care they got it wrong. They're never going to correct the issues.
Couldn't agree
so
more.
Is that going to change with the new boss? No.
And it's just about saying the things that make your audience go,
yep.
Yes, I already believe that. Thank you for reinforcing what I believe.
And never letting anything outside of the bubble in. And that's Fox News, that's MSNBC, that's
exactly.
CNN. Yeah.
Okay, Danny, if you could write a screenplay about the 2020 election. Okay, so, I was going to ask you the game change. Okay.
Okay, I don't really care about Danny's screenplay, I'll be honest with you. But I do think Bill Maher is wrong about a ton of things here, and thankfully Krystal Ball was there. I can't believe that's a real name. I don't believe that's a real name. There's no way that somebody's actually named Krystal Ball. That's insane. What kind of parents do you have? Unless it's an actual fake name, stage name, whatever. Regardless, though, I'm glad Krystal Ball was here on this Bill Maher panel to shut Bill Maher down for a lot of the stupid things that he was saying. He's getting out of hand a little bit, and I don't even think Krystal Ball is like a Trump supporter or anything like that. She just has a bit more common sense than Bill Maher, which isn't really hard to do. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think about the ridiculous statements that Bill Maher was making. Do you agree with him? Do you disagree? And what do you think about the panel's reaction to the things that Bill Maher was saying here live on Real Time with Bill Maher?